Hart's Creek. In the neighborhood Shacktown in the city of Westland, Michigan, there lived a little boy by the name of Matthew, whose life took an unexpected turn when he embarked on a perilous journey into the realm of the paranormal. Nestled beside the woods stood an abandoned asylum, a haunting relic of the past, where Matthew spent his childhood weaving memories in the shadows of forgotten corridors. During Halloween, it is a haunted attraction, with scare actors reenacting the depravity that happened there. As the ethereal moon cast its silver glow upon the overgrown courtyard of the asylum, Matthew returned now as a man who became the rapper Rheotaxis. With a sense of trepidation mingled with curiosity, decided to unravel the mysteries that lay dormant within its decaying walls. He had witnessed real ghosts and demons as a kid during the haunted attraction. The ivy-clad facade loomed ominously, a silent sentinel to the tales of despair and madness that were whispered in hushed tones. With a lantern in hand to pierce the darkness that shrouded the asylum, Rheotaxis ventured forth, his steps echoing solemnly against the cobblestones, each footfall a reverberation of the past. The air inside was cold and musty, tinged with a hint of melancholy that seemed to seep into his very being. Shadows danced at the edges of his vision, elusive and foreboding, as if the spirits of the long-departed inmates beckoned him deeper into their realm. It was then, amidst the stillness of the night, that Rheotaxis felt a presence, a malevolent force that lingered in the shadows, unseen yet palpable in its malevolence. He heard whispers, faint and chilling, that seemed to echo from the very walls themselves, urging him to turn back before it was too late. But curiosity, that insatiable hunger for the unknown, drove him forward, deeper into the heart of darkness. As he descended into the bowels of the asylum, a sense of foreboding weighed heavily upon his soul, the very air thick with the tendrils of an ancient evil that had lain dormant for far too long. It was then that Rheotaxis beheld a visage that froze the blood in his veins. A demon, its eyes ablaze with malice, its form twisted and grotesque, a harbinger of chaos and destruction. "Who dares disturb my slumber?" The demon's voice reverberated through the corridors, sending shivers down Rheotaxis' spine. "You have awoken forces beyond your comprehension, mortal. Prepare for the consequences of your curiosity." Rheotaxis stood steadfast, his gaze unwavering as he squared his shoulders in defiance of the malevolent being that loomed before him. "You have been wreaking havoc on my life. I'm here to face you, coward," he declared, his voice ringing with a courage born of desperation. "I will uncover the truth that lies hidden within these walls, no matter the cost. I know you have been following me my whole life, attached to an emotion you created in me." And so a battle of wills ensued, a dance of light and shadow, as Rheotaxis confronted the demon that had haunted him. A cold breeze rolls by with the scent of rotten eggs in the air. "You're right, Matthew. I am the demon who has been attached to you, watching and causing your follies for my own entertainment." The demon chuckles. Rheotaxis lands a brutal Kenpo karate kick to the demon's head that causes decapitation. He picks up the demon's head and punts it into oblivion. The demon had no clue that a mortal could crack that hard. But Rheotaxis was no longer an average human. He was selected by Mother Nature for a mission only he could survive. Rheotaxis was just a rapper who raced dirt bikes and mastered many styles of martial arts. He is now overwhelmed with a responsibility greater than anyone had ever received. In the quiet stillness of twilight, the silhouette of a solitary figure Rheotaxis emerged along the overgrown path that wound its way through the forgotten grounds of the abandoned asylum. As the golden hues of the setting sun cast elongated shadows upon the crumbling edifice of the once grand building, memories long suppressed stirred within him, like ghosts awakening from a slumber. His footsteps echoed through the hollow corridors, their hollow sound a haunting reminder of the lives that once filled these bleak halls. With each creaking floorboard beneath his weight, Rheotaxis felt a shiver crawl down his spine, a testament to the secrets that whispered through the peeling paint and cracked walls. It was amidst this eerie solitude that a spectral apparition materialized before him, a specter of the past seeking solace in the present. The ghost, its ethereal form shimmering with an otherworldly glow, beckoned him closer, its voice a mere whisper carried on the wind. "Rheotaxis," the ghost spoke, its words laden with a sorrow that transcended the bounds of time. "I was a once living being, unalived by the cruel hands of deer hunters. They roam these lands with impunity, heedless of the pain they inflict upon the innocent." Rheotaxis listened, his heart heavy with the weight of the ghost's lamentations. In the depths of those hollow eyes, he glimpsed the fire of vengeance, burning bright, a silent plea for justice unfulfilled. "You must avenge me," the ghost implored, her voice echoing through the corridors of his mind. "Drive them away, Rheotaxis. Let them know the fear they have sown, the wrath they have awakened." As the last rays of sunlight faded into the encroaching darkness, Rheotaxis made a solemn vow to honor the ghost's wishes. With a newfound resolve burning in his eyes, he turned towards the horizon, a lone figure standing against the encroaching night, a guardian of the forgotten, a harbinger of justice yet to be served. Rheotaxis tries to make sense of the situation when something in his brain finally snaps. "I am Deerheart, protector of the forest, guardian of everything innocent and pure." His mind, body, and spirit change into a heroic split personality. As Rheotaxis, he has too much on his plate, but Deerheart has a clean slate and a spirit already programmed with the mission. Excited to help the herd that raised him, he thinks back to moving from Shacktown to Osseo. It was hard to leave the city, but every day he was out in the woods communicating with the beautiful deer. It was a completely magical experience, riding his dirt bike down Borby's Trail, but that is where the haunting of Rheotaxis truly began. Huffing gas from the tank of his dirt bike, he falls over and starts to hallucinate. Orange, blue, and yellow colors on the dirt bike drip together as if melting into each other. Then, an electrical energy snake shows up with his own theme song. The angel and the devil on his shoulders warned him not to do it, or that would happen. 3 a.m. every morning, eerie old-time country music would play from an abandoned trailer next door with no electricity. He saw people inside sitting at the table, but when he went in, no one was there. Hearts Creek. In the tumultuous tapestry of fate, there existed a soul known as Deerheart, a being forged in the fires of defiance and determination. His countenance, rugged and defiant, bore witness to a past marred by injustice. One fateful day, amid the chaos of a city street, Deerheart's tale took a sharp turn. A clash of wills and pride led him to deliver a resounding punch to the face of a representative of the law, an act that sealed his destiny within the stark confines of a correctional facility. Within the confines of this imposing edifice, where shadows whispered secrets and hardened criminals roamed like specters of the night, Deerheart stood his ground. Solitude became his constant companion, the clinking of iron bars, a melancholic melody that echoed in the chambers of his soul. The hunters, cloaked in the shroud of malice and betrayal, sought to break Deerheart's spirit, their nefarious intentions veiled behind masks of authority. But Deerheart, a warrior in his own right, played a dangerous game of wits, his mind a fortress against their malevolent designs. In the heart of the night, when the world slumbered beneath a blanket of stars, a miraculous event unfolded. A herd of majestic bucks, their antlers gleaming like fragments of moonlight, broke through the walls of the correctional facility with an otherworldly grace. As if guided by a force beyond mortal comprehension, the bucks, led by a magnificent stag of commanding presence, charged through the confines of steel and stone, their hooves hammering a thunderous symphony of liberation. Amidst the chaos and confusion, Deerheart's eyes locked with the gaze of the stag, a silent understanding passing between them. With a defiant snort and a flick of their tails, the bucks surrounded Deerheart, a living shield of valor and solidarity. Together, they charged towards freedom, breaking through the barriers of oppression and injustice. And as they vanished into the shadows of the night, a lone howl echoed through the corridors, a testament to the indomitable spirit of Deerheart and his newfound allies in the wilderness. In the hushed corridors of the cinematic world, whispers of a marvel unfolded with the unveiling of Rheotaxis. The silver screen was ablaze with the commanding presence of Deerheart, a figure molded from the very essence of mesmerizing artistry. A tale as old as time, yet revitalized in each flicker of celluloid, soared to the zenith of prosperity, raking in the wealth of billions, and etching itself indelibly into the annals of cinematic splendor. In the wake of this resounding triumph, Deerheart, the enigmatic luminary himself, embarked upon a pilgrimage to the tranquil shores of Waikiki, Hawaii. Here, amidst the symphony of crashing waves and whispers of the ocean's ancient secrets, he sought to erect a sanctuary for the graceful axis deer, a testament to his unwavering devotion to the creatures that had inspired his very being. Perched magnificently on the cliff's edge, where the heavens seemed to blend seamlessly with the azure expanse of the Pacific Ocean, stood Deerheart's mansion, a bastion of opulence and serenity entwined in harmonious embrace. The verdant verdure surrounding his abode rustled softly in the balmy breeze, as if in reverent acknowledgement of the noble endeavor unfolding within its midst. Within the bounds of his sanctum, a realm where time danced languidly to the lilting melody of eternity, Deerheart birthed a haven unparalleled, a Deerheart karate dojo. Its halls echoed with the hallowed whispers of 1,000 warriors past, their essence merging with the fervor of aspiring disciples who sought to glean wisdom from the very soul of martial prowess. In the fading glow of dusk, as the sun dipped below the horizon, in a dazzling display of chromatic grandeur, Deerheart stood at the threshold of his estate, his gaze fixed upon the boundless expanse of the ocean. With a demeanor as regal as the monarchs of old, he beheld the future unfurling before him, a tapestry woven with threads of compassion, courage, and indomitable spirit. And as the night descended in a shroud of velvety darkness, the silhouette of Deerheart against the star-strewn heavens bespoke a tale of transcendence, a saga of valor, grace, and unending reverence for the untamed beauty of the natural world. In the hushed, misty dawning of a quaint town, the legendary figure known to all as Deerheart unfurled his grand vision to the world, a theme park that stood as a towering testament to his namesake, Deerheart Land. Enthroned within this wondrous realm were colossal structures of delight and thrill, carved from the vivid dreams of the daring and the bold, and at its heart, looming proudly over the landscape, were the colossal roller coasters, behemoths of steel and wonder that dared to challenge gravity itself. Yet, as the sun ascended, casting its golden rays upon the quaint town and its new marvel, a discordant murmur coursed through the air, a protest swelling from the shadows cast by the park's great edifices. Hark! The deer hunters, cloaked in their attire of camouflage and hardened resolve, gathered in resistance. Their voices rose like a tempest, denouncing the park and its namesake, viewing them as affronts to their ancient ways. Upon hearing this unrest, Deerheart himself emerged from the shadows, a figure of ethereal grace and silent power. With a glance that spoke volumes and a bearing that demanded reverence, he stepped forth to meet the protesters. In a voice as smooth as velvet, yet firm as steel, he sought to quell their tumult, to bridge the chasm between their opposing worlds. But words, it seemed, held no sway over the hearts of those who harbored resentment as deep-rooted as the ancient oaks. In defiance, the hunters raised their voices to a crescendo, their anger spiraling like the winds of a brewing storm. And in an act that would echo through time itself, Deerheart, with a flick of his wrist and a flash of resolve, embarked on a journey that defied reason and reality, a world tour that carried him across oceans and continents, kicking teeth out and laying low the obstinate hunters who stood in his path. Through the mists of time and the vast tapestry of the cosmos, Deerheart traversed, his presence a beacon of power and grace. In realms unseen by mortal eyes, he shifted and warped, a master of the enigmatic arts that bound reality and fiction. And in each plane he visited, each epoch he graced, the hunters of deer and malice felt the thunderous might of his relentless spirit, their ranks dwindling with each strike. And so, the tale of Deerheart, the legend of the theme park, and its tumultuous birthing echoed through the ages, a saga of defiance and resolve that transcended mortal understanding. For within the heart of Deerheart lay a fire that could not be quenched, a spirit that roamed the cosmos seeking justice for the oppressed and peace for the weary. And thus, his legacy soared eternal, a myth woven into the very fabric of time itself, desecrating every evil prowess, pulverizing deer hunters, picking them way up, and body-slamming them for eternity. Heart's Creek, in the shadows of the ancient forest, where time seemed to stand still amidst the whispering leaves and the murmuring brooks, there lived a man named Rheotaxis. Yet beneath his seemingly ordinary exterior, a disquieting duality resided. It was as though a haunting spectre had taken root within his very being, birthing the enigmatic figure known as Deerheart. Deerheart, with his piercing gaze and sinuous movements, prowled the dense thickets like a phantom of vengeance, his presence cloaked in mystery, his intentions unfathomable to those who dared to cross his path. The hunters of the forest, with their callous hearts and ruthless hands, unknowingly unleashed a tempest upon themselves when they set out to claim innocent lives for sport. One fateful twilight, as the golden hues of the setting sun painted the horizon with ethereal beauty, the hunters crept soundlessly through the undergrowth, their weapons poised and their hearts devoid of mercy. Little did they know the peril that awaited them, lurking in the form of Deerheart, poised to defend his kin with a fervor unmatched. As the hunters drew near, attention hung heavy in the air, the very leaves seeming to hold their breath in anticipation. And then, with a primal shriek that reverberated through the ancient trees, Deerheart sprang forth, a whirlwind of fury and grace. His movements were a dance of death, a symphony of vengeance, as he outmaneuvered his foes with a cunning that mirrored the wiles of the forest itself. The hunters, taken aback by the sudden onslaught, found themselves ensnared in a nightmarish tableau of their own making. Deerheart's tactics were as creative as they were brutal, his retribution swift and unyielding. He struck with an artistry that belied a primal instinct, turning the tables on those who sought to sow chaos and destruction in the realm of the woodland creatures. In the throes of battle, amidst the clash of steel and the cries of the fallen, Deerheart emerged as a force of nature, a protector of the innocent and a harbinger of justice. His split personality, once a source of turmoil and conflict, now found harmony in the symphony of retribution he orchestrated with lethal precision. And so, as the moon rose high in the velvet sky, casting its silver light upon the battlefield strewn with the defeated hunters, Deerheart stood tall, a solitary figure against the backdrop of the untamed wilderness. His eyes, a mirror to the soul of the forest itself, gleamed with a fierce determination, a guardian sworn to defend the sanctity of nature against all who sought to desecrate it. With a resolute gaze and a heart as unyielding as the ancient oaks that bore witness to his deeds, Deerheart vanished into the shadows once more, a whispered legend echoing through the ages of a protector who roamed the planet. In the sylvan realm of whispering pines, a tale unfurled with eerie whispers, like the rustle of leaves in the twilight of dusk. Deerheart, a creature of grace and timidity, roamed the emerald glades with a lilt in his step, his russet coat gleaming in the dappled sunlight that filtered through the ancient canopy above. Yet beneath this tranquil facade lay a secret, a harbinger of darkness that slumbered within him. As the silver moon crept across the star-strewn firmament, a strange metamorphosis overtook Deerheart. His gentle form contorted and twisted, sinew and bone reshaping beneath the moon's cold gaze until he stood transfigured into a monstrous spectre, a were-deer, a creature of myth and terror. In the hushed hours of the night, the woods echoed with the anguished cries of prey and predator alike. Deerheart, now a dire spectre with eyes aglow like crimson embers, prowled the moonlit glades with a predatory hunger that stirred the shadows themselves. The once gentle creature now exuded a primal ferocity, a predatory cunning that belied his former innocence. It was in these haunted hours that the hunters, with their rifles gleaming wickedly in the moonlight, ventured into the woods in search of the elusive prey. Little did they know that they had become the hunted, their arrogance and greed leading them into the maw of a monster born of fang and fury. The first hunter fell with a strangled cry, his weapon clattering unheeded to the forest floor, as Deerheart, his antlers sharp as scythes, struck with a swiftness that belied his size. The second met a similar fate, his terror-filled gaze meeting those of the were-deer for but a fleeting moment before darkness claimed him. The woods bore witness to a macabre dance of death and shadow, the moon casting a pallid glow upon Deerheart as he moved with a lethal grace amongst his fallen foes. Each strike was a symphony of violence and vengeance, each kill a grim testament to the primal fury that now coursed through his veins. And so it was that Deerheart, the once gentle denizen of Whispering Pines, became a legend steeped in blood and shadow, a werdeer, a spectre of the night whose haunting cry sent shivers down the spines of even the bravest souls. In the heart of the woods, where darkness held sway and the moon cast its cold gaze upon the earth, the tale of Deerheart and his savage transformation was whispered with a fear that would endure for generations to come. Heart's Creek, in the serene expanse of the Hawaiian wilderness, nestled at the foot of the looming volcanoes, lay the Deerheart Ranch, a vast estate teeming with rainforests and streams, waterfalls, where the land echoed with the soft whispers of nature's secrets. The ranch was a sanctuary for its owner, a man known simply as Deerheart, whose bond with the land was as deep as the roots of the ancient pines. One fateful morning, as the first light of dawn painted the sky in hues of rose and gold, a shadow fell upon the tranquility of Deerheart's sanctuary. The distant hum of engines, foreign and harsh in the quietude of the wilderness, heralded the arrival of a band of Hawaiian deer hunters. Their brazen intrusion into his realm was a violation of the unspoken harmony between man and nature. Deerheart, a man of few words but fierce determination, strode into the heart of the hunters' encampment. Their faces, weathered by the harsh sun of distant lands, turned towards him with a mixture of surprise and hostility. Words were exchanged, brief and charged with unspoken challenge, before the tension snapped like a taut bowstring. With a flash of steel and a thunderous report that shattered the morning stillness, Deerheart's rifle spoke in defense of his land. The hunters, taken aback by the sudden eruption of violence, recoiled as the echoes of gunshots reverberated through the forest. Deerheart's eyes blazed with a primal fire as he fought his way out, a lone figure against a sea of adversaries. Amidst the chaos and confusion, a sleek dirt bike awaited him, a steed of metal and rubber that he mounted with a fluid grace, born of years spent riding the rugged terrain of his ranch. The engine roared to life, a symphony of power and freedom, as Deerheart tore through the undergrowth, leaving a trail of dust and defiance in his wake. As he navigated the treacherous paths of his beloved land, pursued by the hunters whose greed had shattered the peace of the wilderness, Deerheart's heart beat with the rhythm of a wild stag in flight. His fate uncertain, his resolve unyielding, he raced towards an uncertain future, driven by a primal instinct as old as the land itself. It was a balmy evening upon the golden shores of Waikiki Beach, where the gentle whispers of the ocean intermingled with the faint rustling of palm leaves overhead. Amidst this picturesque setting, a figure emerged, his silhouette a study in precision and grace. Deerheart, they called him, a mysterious warrior of incomparable skill and unmatched prowess in the art of combat. The lingering scent of salty air was soon overlaid with an atmosphere thick with anticipation as word spread of Deerheart's participation in the no-rules martial arts tournament. The self-appointed guardians of the Hawaiian tradition, the deer hunters, stood resolute, their eyes alight with a fierce determination to protect their ancestral ways and prove their mettle against this enigmatic challenger. As the first rays of the setting sun cast long shadows across the sands, the tournament began in earnest, the ring enclosed by a circle of spectators, their voices hushed with awe and curiosity. Deerheart moved with an effortless fluidity, his movements a mesmerizing dance of speed and precision as he faced each opponent in turn. The clash of bodies echoed against the backdrop of crashing waves, the scent of sweat and exertion, mingling with the tang of salty sea air. Deerheart's opponents, skilled in their own right, found themselves outmatched by his uncanny agility and unmatched technique. Each blow landed with a resounding impact, each maneuver executed with a finesse that spoke of a lifetime spent honing his craft. The tension in the air was palpable as Deerheart faced the final challenger, the lead deer hunter, a formidable figure whose muscular frame spoke of years spent in tireless pursuit of his prey. The exchange of blows was fierce and unrelenting, the contest a symphony of movement and force that held the spectators rapt with breathless awe. In a moment that seemed to hang suspended in time, Deerheart delivered a final, devastating blow, a lightning-fast strike that sent the lead hunter crashing to the sand, knocked unconscious. As the dust settled and the sun dipped below the horizon, Deerheart stood victorious, a solitary figure bathed in the fading light of a day well spent in the crucible of battle. The crowd went silent, but their admiration for Deerheart's skill and valor was resounding across the beach. And as the last echoes of their fervor faded into the night, the enigmatic warrior known as Deerheart vanished into the shadows, leaving behind a legacy of unmatched courage and indomitable spirit that would be spoken of for generations to come. Heart's Creek. In the rolling hills of the picturesque countryside, where the whispers of the wind harmonized with the rustling leaves of ancient trees, there resided a man named Treeheart, a figure of rugged stature. Weathered by the passage of time and toil, he was the custodian of an idyllic realm that sprawled across his almond grove, hemp farm, and maple syrup haven. Treeheart was a solitary soul, content in the sanctuary provided by his verdant domain, nurturing the land with a tenderness that belied his formidable presence. Yet, like the slow-gathering storm on the horizon, a shadow loomed over Treeheart's tranquil existence. The Treeheart lumberjacks, a band of rapacious interlopers, encroached upon his sanctuary with greed in their hearts and destruction in their wake. Their saws cut through the ancient forest with a callous disregard for the whispers of the woods, their eyes set on the bounty that lay within Treeheart's realm. As the cacophony of the lumberjacks' axes grew louder, echoing through the valleys and hills, a fierce determination kindled in Treeheart's gaze. He knew that he could not stand idly by and watch as his cherished grove and farm were desecrated by these marauders. With a resolute resolve, he vowed to defend his land, his home, with a ferocity that matched the fury of nature itself. The clash that ensued was not merely a battle of forces, but a confrontation of ideals. Treeheart, a guardian of harmony and sustenance, faced the lumberjacks, agents of desolation and greed. The skirmishes that unfolded were marked by a primal intensity, as the earth itself trembled beneath the weight of their conflict. In the quiet of the forest, where the scent of pine mingled with the tang of steel, Treeheart confronted the lumberjacks in a showdown that would reverberate through the annals of time. His hands, calloused from years of labor, wielded tools not of destruction but of creation. The lumberjacks, blinded by their avarice, underestimated the resolve of this solitary figure who stood against them. In the waning light of a dusky evening, as shadows lengthened and the birdsong faded into an expectant hush, the final reckoning was at hand. Treeheart, with a steely gaze and a heart unyielding, confronted the lumberjacks in a clash that could only have one victor. The wails of defeat were swallowed by the silent woods as the lumberjacks were vanquished by the indomitable spirit of Treeheart. His almond grove, hemp farm, and maple syrup stills remained unscathed, a testament to the resilience of the land and the unwavering determination of its steward. And so, the legend of Treeheart, the guardian of the forest, the protector of his realm, echoed through the woods. The evening settled over the Treeheart saloon like a velvet shroud, casting a warm glow upon the elegantly dressed patrons who sought solace in the dimly lit establishment. The air was thick with the sweet melodies of the piano and jovial laughter, creating a harmonious backdrop for the graceful movements of the enigmatic figure known only as Treeheart. Draped in a finely tailored suit that accentuated his imposing stature, Treeheart moved with a fluid grace that seemed to defy gravity itself. His eyes, a deep shade of emerald, sparkled in the soft light as he twirled his partner, a beautiful woman with raven locks that cascaded down her back like a midnight waterfall. As the music reached a crescendo, Treeheart led his companion in a mesmerizing dance, their silhouettes casting intricate shadows upon the worn wooden floor. The onlookers watched with bated breath, captivated by the spectacle unfolding before them. But just as the dance reached its zenith, a sudden commotion shattered the tranquil atmosphere. The heavy wooden doors swung open with a jarring creak, revealing a group of rugged lumberjacks whose boisterous laughter rang out like thunder in the stillness of the saloon. Without missing a beat, Treeheart turned to confront the intruders, his gaze unwavering as he assessed the situation with a cool detachment that belied the storm brewing beneath the surface. With a silent nod to his companion, he stepped forward, his movements deliberate and purposeful. The lumberjacks, fueled by a potent concoction of liquor and bravado, lumbered towards the stage with a reckless abandon that threatened to disrupt the delicate balance of the evening. But Treeheart stood his ground, a faint smirk playing at the corners of his lips as he readied himself for the confrontation that loomed on the horizon. In a swift flurry of motion, the air crackled with the sound of fists meeting flesh as Treeheart unleashed a display of bare-knuckle boxing techniques that left his adversaries reeling. His movements were a blur of precision and power, each strike landing with a resounding thud that echoed through the saloon. One by one, the lumberjacks fell before him, their bodies crumpling to the floor in a tangled heap of limbs and shattered egos. The onlookers watched in stunned silence, the tension in the air palpable as Treeheart emerged victorious, his breathing steady and his gaze unwavering. As the last of his assailants lay defeated at his feet, Treeheart turned to face the crowd, his expression a mix of defiance and resignation. The saloon was plunged into a hushed reverence, the events of that fateful night forever etched into the annals of Treeheart's legend. The crackling hearth within Treeheart's weathered log cabin cast a warm glow upon the ancient timbers that composed the walls. Surrounded by the comforting scent of wood smoke and the gentle rustling of the surrounding hemp fields, the enigmatic figure of Treeheart sat in his weathered chair, a man seemingly carved from the very roots of the forest itself. Before him stood a woman of breathtaking beauty, her eyes as deep and mysterious as the darkest depths of the forest. She had sought out Treeheart in his secluded abode, drawn by whispers of his wisdom and his uncanny connection to the woods that stretched out endlessly beyond his humble dwelling. "Why do the lumberjacks seek your head, Treeheart?" Her voice was soft, yet filled with an urgency that hinted at unseen dangers lurking beyond the tree line. Treeheart regarded her with a steady gaze, his face lined with the wisdom of ages and a hint of sorrow that spoke of long-forgotten sorrows and battles waged in the shadowed depths of the ancient forest. They fear what they cannot control, my dear. They see me as a threat to their dominion over the woods, a reminder of a time when man and nature existed in harmony, rather than in a perpetual state of conflict. As he spoke, the firelight danced in his eyes, lending an otherworldly gleam to his feature, as if the spirits of the forest itself spoke through him. The woman listened, captivated by his words, feeling a deep resonance within her own soul that she could not explain. "And what will you do, Treeheart?" she inquired, her voice barely a whisper, as if afraid to break the fragile spell that enveloped them. A weary smile tugged at the corners of Treeheart's lips, imbued with a profound sadness that spoke of a lifetime spent in solitude and contemplation. "I will do what I must, my dear. I will stand firm against those who seek to despoil the woods, who would see the ancient trees fall to the axes of greed and ignorance. For the forest is my home, my heart, and my soul, and I will protect it, no matter the cost." In that moment, as the shadows lengthened and the fire crackled in the earth, the woman knew that she stood in the presence of a guardian of the wild places, a man whose very essence was intertwined with the ancient rhythms of the earth, and in his eyes she saw the flicker of a fire that would never be extinguished, a flame that burned eternal in defense of the forest and all its mysteries. Treeheart was irresistible to any woman that laid eyes on him. Heart's Creek, in the heart of the rugged wilderness, where the ancient oaks whispered tales of forgotten battles, a solitary figure emerged, casting a formidable shadow against the fading light of dusk. This figure was none other than Treeheart, a man of immense stature and unwavering resolve, bearing the scars of countless conflicts etched upon his weathered visage. On this fateful evening, the air was charged with anticipation as a bare knuckle boxing tournament unfolded amidst the towering trees. Lumberjacks from distant lands had gathered to test their mettle, their rough-hewn hands clenched in readiness, their eyes gleaming with fire and determination. Yet amidst this sea of eager combatants, it was Treeheart who stood out, his presence commanding reverence and fear in equal measure. As the first opponent stepped forward, a burly lumberjack, with muscles of iron and a gaze as sharp as a blade, a hush fell over the assembled crowd. The tension was palpable, each breath drawn in unison as the combatants squared off, their shadows intertwining in a dance of imminent violence. The first blow struck like thunder, a resounding clash of flesh against flesh that reverberated through the ancient forest. Treeheart's fist was a force of nature, a sledgehammer unleashed with savage precision, sending his opponent stumbling back, dazed and bloodied. With a primal roar, Treeheart pressed his advantage, a whirlwind of fury and strength that left his adversaries reeling. Blow after bone-crushing blow landed with grim finality, each strike a testament to his relentless resolve and unyielding spirit. The lumberjacks, once brimming with bravado, now lay sprawled upon the forest floor, defeated and broken by the sheer power of Treeheart's wrath. And so it was that Treeheart emerged victorious, his fists stained with the blood of his fallen foes, his name etched in the annals of the wilderness as a legend of unparalleled might and indomitable will. As the last echoes of battle faded into the night, the ancient oaks stood sentinel over the fallen, their branches swaying in silent homage to the warrior known as Treeheart, the champion of the Bare Knuckle Boxing Tournament. in the verdant embrace of the primordial forest, where the towering trees whispered ancient secrets and the earth cradled forgotten mysteries, a titanic confrontation brewed. The air crackled with tension as the mighty Treeheart, a guardian as old as time itself, stood proud and resolute, surrounded by dappled sunlight filtering through the dense canopy overhead. A man of colossal stature approached, his shadow stretching far across the leaf-strewn ground. With each step, the ground trembled, and the undergrowth shivered in anticipation. This was no mere mortal man, but a lumberjack, a formidable figure whose reputation preceded him like a storm cloud, heralding impending doom. At his side, a behemoth of a blue ox, its eyes gleaming with a fierce intelligence that belied its massive frame. "Treeheart," boomed the lumberjack, his voice deep and resonant, echoing through the ancient forest. "Your time has come to an end. I shall tame this wild land and harvest these trees, for that is the destiny written in the stars." Treeheart, his bark-like skin glistening in the dappling light, raised his limbs in defiance. "The trees are not mere commodities to be plundered at your whims, lumberjack," he intoned, his voice a deep rumble that seemed to reverberate through the very roots of the forest itself. "I am their guardian, their protector, and I shall not let you desecrate this sacred grove." With a roar that shook the very heavens, the lumberjack lunged forward, his massive axe gleaming in the sunlight. Treeheart met the blow with a thunderous clash, the sound reverberating through the forest like a primal symphony. Their battle was fierce and unrelenting, the ancient tree spirit and the relentless lumberjack locked in a dance of destruction that threatened to consume them both. With a mighty swing, Treeheart struck a blow that sent the lumberjack reeling, his massive form hurtling through the air with a grace that belied his size. With a thunderous splash, he crashed into the nearby river, water spraying in all directions like a glittering cascade of liquid diamonds. The forest fell silent, the echoes of the battle fading into the stillness of the ancient trees. Treeheart stood tall and proud, his branches reaching towards the sky in a gesture of triumph. The lumberjack, defeated, knocked unconscious, his eyes rolling in the back of his head. He will wake up with a newfound respect for the guardian of the forest. Treeheart says emotionally. And so, the dance of nature and civilization continued, a delicate balance, maintained by the fierce spirit of Treeheart and the relentless determination of man. In the heart of the forest, where the trees whispered their secrets to the wind and the earth cradled forgotten mysteries, the legacy of their battle would echo through the ages, a testament to the enduring power of the natural world. Treeheart celebrates by smoking hemp joints with his girlfriends. They get really high. "I think I have the munchies." A beautiful woman whispers, "Well then, munchies I think I have," says Treeheart. They eat almonds and drink maple syrup. Heart's Creek. In the shadowed embrace of Mount Sakurajima, there dwelt a solitary figure, shrouded in enigma and draped in silence. Fishheart, as he was known in hushed whispers among the locals, moved with the fluid grace of a zephyr through the mist-clad forests and craggy cliffs that surrounded his secluded abode. His presence, as fleeting as the morning dew upon the petals of a blossoming sakura, stirred both awe and trepidation in the hearts of those who dared to speak of him. Within the cavernous depths of his sanctum, Fishheart nurtured a menagerie of aquatic denizens that danced in a mesmerizing ballet of hues and forms. Better fish, with their vibrant splashes of color, adorned his watery realm alongside the majestic red arowanas, whose scales shimmered like molten rubies in the dappled light filtering through the rocky crevices. Circling among them were the primal piranhas, guardians of a realm where the laws of nature reign supreme, and the graceful koi fish, emblematic of tranquility and serenity in their elegant grace. It was amidst this aqueous symphony that Fishheart labored with meticulous care and unwavering focus, fashioning a samurai sword that bore the essence of his unspoken vendetta against the denizens of the sea and the marauding fishermen who pillaged without remorse. Each stroke of the hammer upon the molten steel, each whispered invocation to the spirits of his ancestors, bore witness to a soul aflame with the desire for retribution. As the flames flickered and danced in the forge's embrace, casting eerie shadows upon the rocky walls of his cavernous refuge, Fishheart's thoughts drifted to a time long past, when the tranquil waters had been tainted by the greed and avarice of men who sought to plunder without heed for the delicate balance of nature's tapestry. In the soft murmurs of the night, he vowed to become the blade that would sever the chains of injustice and proclaim his silent fury to the heedless perpetrators of destruction. And so, in the heart of Mount Sakurajima, Fishheart honed his skills and steeled his resolve, a shadow among shadows, a ghost of vengeance veiled in the cloak of night. In the depths of his eyes gleamed a fire that burned with the intensity of 1,000 suns, a beacon of wrath that heralded the coming storm. And as he raised the gleaming blade to the heavens, a whispered promise lingered on his lips, carried away on the winds that whispered through the ancient trees. The hour of reckoning draws near, and the waters shall run crimson with the tears of the forsaken. In the hushed stillness of the night, amidst a slumber clad in shadows, a lone figure stirred beneath the velvet embrace of dreams. Fishheart, the samurai of unyielding spirit and resolute heart, wielded a blade as sharp as the fleeting whispers of moonlight. In a realm where reality ebbed and flowed, the boundary between the ethereal and the corporeal blurred, beckoning forth a malevolent entity from the depths of the ancient lore. With a steely resolve, honed through battles fought both within and without, the samurai drew the sword from its lacquered sheath, its tempered steel gleaming in the dim glow of flickering candlelight. As the demon materialized, its form twisted and contorted in a manifestation of primordial malevolence, a specter of shadows and malice cast upon the tapestry of Fishheart's dreaming mind. In a dance, as old as time itself, the samurai and the demon locked eyes in a silent exchange of primal defiance. Words unsaid resonated in the stillness of the night, a silent symphony of intent and unspoken truths. With a swift and graceful motion, Fishheart's blade traced an arc through the air, cleaving through the veil that separated dream from reality, ambition from destiny. The sound of steel meeting ephemeral flesh filled the chamber, a symphony of clash and discord that reverberated through the corridors of the soul. In a moment of crystalline clarity, the demon faltered, its form dissolving into motes of shadow that scattered like ashes on the wind. The samurai stood alone amidst the dissipating remnants of the ethereal battle, his breath mingling with the lingering scent of ancient spirits and the palpable weight of destiny fulfilled. As the first rays of dawn painted the horizon in hues of rose and gold, Fishheart sheathed his sword with a reverent grace, a silent testament to the enduring bond between man and blade. In the wake of the night's trial, the samurai's gaze lingered on the vanishing shadows of the defeated demon, a silent acknowledgement of the eternal dance between light and darkness, courage and fear, honor and treachery. And thus, in the heart of a dream, woven from the fabric of legend and myth, Fishheart stood as a living testament to the enduring legacy of the samurai spirit, a guardian of the ancient truths that bound humanity to the unseen realms that lay beyond the threshold of mortal understanding. In the tranquil waters of the vast ocean, where the sun gently kissed the waves, a peculiar phenomenon came to pass. A creature of fantastical nature, Fishheart, adorned with the splendor of a better fish head, but soaring upon the form of a human body, emerged from the depths with a malevolent purpose at heart. Under the cloak of darkness, Fishheart, with a cunning that rivaled the most skilled of assassins, began his sinister machinations against the unsuspecting fishermen who dared venture into his domain. His attacks were not of brutish force, but of an artful execution, reminiscent of a shadowy spectre haunting the twilight hours. Upon moonlit nights, as the fishermen would drift aimlessly upon their boats, mending their nets, or recounting tales of the sea, it was then that Fishheart would strike. Like a phantom, he would glide through the waters with a grace that defied mortal understanding, evading notice until it was too late. With a precision that bespoke of sinister ingenuity, Fishheart would unleash acts of nefarious creativity upon his prey. One moment, he would entwine their oars in seaweed, leaving them stranded amidst the vast expanse of the ocean's embrace. In another, he would sabotage their nets, leaving them empty-handed and filled with despair. Yet it was not merely the tangible acts of sabotage that struck fear into the hearts of the fishermen. It was the manner in which Fishheart conducted his attacks, veiled in the cloak of ninja stealth, that sent shivers down their spines. Whispers would circulate among the coastal villages of a spectral entity that haunted the waters, a being of otherworldly grace and unfathomable malevolence. And so, the fishermen would cast anxious glances over their shoulders, their hearts heavy with dread, as they ventured into the watery realm where Fishheart held dominion. For in the depths of the ocean, where shadows danced upon the waves and the whispers of the sea echoed through the abyss, Fishheart, with his better fish head and human form, awaited his next unsuspecting victim with a patient and merciless resolve. Sneaking up behind the target, he feels no emotion. One swipe from his samurai sword disembowels the enemy. Fishheart always throws a shuriken between the eyes to make sure the job is done. Heart's Creek, in the tranquil heart of the ancient woodland, where the murmuring streams intertwined with the ethereal whisper of the wind through the trees, a profound stillness enveloped the forest clearing. It was a place untouched by the hands of time, where the spirits of nature dwelled in harmony. Amidst the dappled sunlight, filtering through the canopy above, 3 figures stood, each bearing the essence of a distinct entity. Deerheart, with eyes as wise as the eternal sky; Treeheart, his limbs adorned with the foliage of centuries past; and Fishheart, the keeper of the secrets hidden within the watery depths, found themselves drawn together by an invisible thread woven by Mother Nature herself. In that mysterious moment, as the rustling leaves whispered their ancient songs, a realization dawned upon the trio. They were not merely separate beings, but fragments of a singular spirit, divided into 3 distinct forms: the essence of the deer, the resilience of the tree, and the fluidity of the fish merged and intertwined within them, creating a bond that transcended the boundaries of their individual existence. It is by her design that we are brought together, murmured Deerheart, his voice carrying the weight of centuries past. "We are the guardians of this sacred forest, tasked with its preservation and protection." Treeheart nodded solemnly, his branches swaying in silent agreement. "Our destinies are intertwined, bound by the threads of fate that connect us to this land." And Fishheart, his scales shimmering in the gentle light, spoke softly, "Together we shall form the Deer Tree and Fish Association, a beacon of hope in the face of encroaching darkness." As the echoes of their words faded into the tranquil air, a sense of purpose ignited within their collective hearts. With a shared resolve that echoed through the depths of the forest, they embraced their newfound identity as DTF, the embodiment of unity in the face of adversity. Their first test came swiftly, heralded by the distant rumble of machinery and the acrid scent of smoke that tainted the once pure air. A horde of coal miners, driven by greed and ignorance, sought to lay waste to the forest that had stood as a sanctuary for all living beings. With hearts ablaze with righteous fury, Deerheart, Treeheart, and Fishheart stood as one, ready to defend their home against the desecration that threatened to consume it. Through the trials that awaited them, the DTF Association stood firm, their unity a shield against the onslaught of destruction. Each step they took, each word they spoke, resonated with the ancient power of the earth itself, a testament to the enduring strength of the spirits that dwelled within them. And so, amidst the clash of steel and stone, the cries of the forest mingled with the fierce determination of the guardians who stood as its protectors. In the heart of the woodland, a battle raged between light and darkness, a struggle that would change them forever. In the shadowed recesses of a forgotten coal mine, where dampness clung to the walls and the stench of decay lingered in the air like a ghostly whisper, there existed a place known only as the Ring of Fire, a name whispered in hushed tones among those daring enough to venture into the depths of darkness, where only the brave and the desperate sought refuge from the harsh realities of life above. Within the confines of this forsaken domain, amidst the eerie flicker of flames that danced like restless spirits, 3 formidable figures stood poised for battle: Deerheart, Treeheart, and Fishheart, names that struck fear into the hearts of even the most hardened souls who dared to witness their prowess within the Ring of Fire. On this fateful night, a night shrouded in an air of tension and anticipation, the trio of warriors faced off in a no-holds-barred martial arts tournament unlike any other. The coal miners, weary and weathered from a life spent toiling in the bowels of the earth, gathered around the makeshift arena, their eyes fixed on the spectacle unfolding before them. With each move they made, the flames leapt higher, casting wild shadows on the walls and painting an ominous backdrop to the fierce battles that waged within the circle of fire. Deerheart, with the grace of a predator stalking its prey; Treeheart, whose limbs moved with the fluidity of the ancient oaks; and Fishheart, swift and lethal as the currents of a raging river, clashed in a symphony of violence and skill. As the night wore on, the cheers of the onlookers mingled with the sound of fists meeting flesh and the crackling of flames, creating a cacophony of sound that echoed through the cavernous chamber. One by one, the coal miners fell to the ground, their unconscious forms a testament to the unrivaled power and ferocity of the 3 warriors who stood victorious amidst the chaos. In the aftermath of the brutal battles, as the embers of the flames slowly died down and the echoes of the night faded into silence, a hushed reverence fell over the Ring of Fire. The triumphant trio stood tall, their chests heaving with exertion, their eyes gleaming with a primal fire that mirrored the fading flames around them. And so, as the last echoes of the night whispered through the darkened tunnels of the coal mine, the legends of Deerheart, Treeheart, and Fishheart grew, their names forever etched in the annals of the underground world where only the boldest and the most daring dared to tread. In the city of sorrow, where the sun's rays dared to touch the earth with a timid glow, there existed a place that beckoned to those who sought escape from the dreariness of their mundane existence. Nestled on the outskirts of town was the Ring of Fire stage, a mystical theater of music where the air thrummed with the intoxicating promise of rebellion and raw passion. It was here that three daring souls, known to the world as Deerheart, Treeheart, and Fishheart, converged under the cloak of night to unleash their mesmerizing melodies upon the unsuspecting world. With fervor as fierce as the flames that danced unabashedly before them, they melded the discordant notes of rap and the relentless roar of heavy metal into a symphony that reverberated through the hearts of all who dared listen. Deerheart, with eyes that glittered like emeralds in the dim light, wielded his microphone like a weapon, pouring forth verses that spoke of defiance and desire. Treeheart, his fingers expertly coaxing magic from the strings of his guitar, conjured melodies that soared and fell with the grace of a bird in flight. And Fishheart, his drumsticks a blur of frenzied motion, drove the rhythm with a primal energy that threatened to consume all who were drawn near. Amidst the chaos of sound and fury, they stood united, their voices raised in a triumphant chorus that echoed across the expanse of the Ring of Fire stage. "We are DTF," they proclaimed, a mantra that swirled around them like a tempest, drawing in the enamored gazes of the ladies who flocked to witness their spectacle, holding signs that read, "We are DTF too." And as the night wore on, enveloping them in its velvet embrace, Deerheart, Treeheart, and Fishheart became more than mere performers. They were legends in the making, their music a fervent prayer to the gods of rebellion and passion. In that moment, under the watchful eye of the stars that winked knowingly above, they knew that their destinies were entwined, bound by the magic of music and the unbreakable bonds of brotherhood. When the flames licked the darkness of the flooded coal mine, a monstrous shape emerged, tearing through the veil of smoke with unfathomable fury. Its eyes, gleaming like molten gold in the dim light, reflected the horror that lurked within its very being. Deerheart, Treeheart, and Fishheart stood side by side, their determined faces bathed in the eerie glow of the inferno. Together, they faced the behemoth, a Japanese demon of ancient lore, its twisted form a testament to the darkness that had seeped into its soul. As the battle ensued, each strike reverberating through the cavernous depths, the air crackled with raw power and the scent of burning coal. Deerheart and Fishheart moved as one, their movements fluid and precise, their weapons glinting in the firelight. With every blow, they chipped away at the demon's armor of malice, their hearts ablaze with courage and determination. But victory, when it finally came, was bitter and fleeting. As the demon's form dissipated into wisps of smoke and ash, a tension simmered between Deerheart and Fishheart. A clash of wills, a clash of egos. It was an inevitable outcome, the culmination of years of unspoken rivalry and unacknowledged envy. And so the cavern echoed with the sound of their fists meeting, their anger spilling forth like a tempest unleashed. It was in the midst of this tumultuous confrontation that Diamondheart stirred from his slumber, the ground beneath him parting like the maw of a slumbering dragon. Rising from the flames with an otherworldly grace, he surveyed the scene before him with a gaze that pierced through the haze of conflict and confusion. With a swift and decisive leap, Diamondheart plunged into the depths of a nearby pond, the water parting around him like a veil of liquid silk. As he surfaced, the cavern revealed its hidden treasures, glittering jewels scattered like fallen stars, and beautiful women whose laughter tinkled like crystal bells. In that moment, amidst the shimmering allure of the underground cave, Diamondheart stood as a figure of mystery and power, a reflection of the enigma that dwelled within his very soul. And as the echoes of the battle faded into the darkness, a new chapter unfolded in the timeless tapestry of their intertwined destinies. Heart's Creek. In the heart of a vast and untamed land, a conflict brewed between the miners of gold and the seekers of diamonds. The diamond miners, known for their tenacity and unwavering resolve, had long held claim to the treasured gemstones that adorned their fair country. Meanwhile, the gold miners, lured by visions of riches untold, sought to uncover the golden bounty hidden beneath the earth. Diamondheart, a courageous and noble leader amongst the diamond miners, stood tall and resolute as the first echoes of the impending battle reached his ears. His eyes, as sharp and brilliant as the diamonds he sought to protect, scanned the horizon with a keen awareness of the storm that approached. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a fiery glow upon the land, Diamondheart summoned his loyal companions to his side. The flickering firelight danced upon their faces, illuminating the steely determination etched upon each brow. "The time has come," Diamondheart declared, his voice ringing out with a resolute clarity. "We shall defend our lands with all the strength and valor that beats within our hearts." The diamond miners, armed with pickaxes and shields forged of the strongest steel, marched forth towards the looming threat of the gold miners. The air crackled with tension, the earth trembling beneath the weight of impending conflict. When the two factions finally clashed, the clash of metal and the cries of battle pierced the stillness of the night. Diamondheart, a beacon of unwavering courage amidst the chaos, fought with a skill and ferocity that struck fear into the hearts of his adversaries. His diamond-encrusted armor gleamed beneath the moon's silvery light, a testament to the indomitable spirit that burned within his breast. The clash of steel against steel, the thunderous roar of conflict, and the anguished cries of the fallen echoed across the battlefield. Each blow struck and parried with an artistry born of years of toil and dedication. The earth beneath their feet became stained with blood, a grim reminder of the cost of war. With each passing moment, the tide of battle swayed back and forth, neither side willing to yield an inch of ground. Diamondheart, his eyes ablaze with a fierce determination, rallied his comrades with words of courage and steadfast resolve. "Fight on, my friends," he cried, his voice a clarion call above the din of battle. "For victory shall be ours, or we shall meet our fate with honor and dignity." As the first light of dawn crested the horizon, casting a radiant glow upon the battlefield, the conflict reached its climax. The gold miners, their ranks decimated and their spirits broken, finally relented before the unwavering strength of Diamondheart and his devoted followers. With a final, resounding cry of victory, the diamond miners emerged triumphant, their hearts filled with pride and their lands secure once more. When the flames licked the darkness of the flooded coal mine, a monstrous shape emerged, tearing through the veil of smoke with unfathomable fury. Its eyes, gleaming like molten gold in the dim light, reflected the horror that lurked within its very being. Deerheart, Treeheart, and Fishheart stood side by side, their determined faces bathed in the eerie glow of the inferno. Together, they faced the behemoth, a Japanese demon of ancient lore, its twisted form a testament to the darkness that had seeped into its soul. As the battle ensued, each strike reverberating through the cavernous depths, the air crackled with raw power and the scent of burning coal. Deerheart and Fishheart moved as one, their movements fluid and precise, their weapons glinting in the firelight. With every blow, they chipped away at the demon's armor of malice, their hearts ablaze with courage and determination. But victory, when it finally came, was bitter and fleeting. As the demon's form dissipated into wisps of smoke and ash, a tension simmered between Deerheart and Fishheart. A clash of wills, a clash of egos, it was an inevitable outcome, the culmination of years of unspoken rivalry and unacknowledged envy. And so, the cavern echoed with the sound of their fists meeting, their anger spilling forth like a tempest unleashed. It was in the midst of this tumultuous confrontation that Diamondheart stirred from his slumber, the ground beneath him parting like the maw of a slumbering dragon. Rising from the flames with an otherworldly grace, he surveyed the scene before him with a gaze that pierced through the haze of conflict and confusion. With a swift and decisive leap, Diamondheart plunged into the depths of a nearby pond, the water parting around him like a veil of liquid silk. As he surfaced, the cavern revealed its hidden treasures, glittering jewels scattered like fallen stars, and beautiful women whose laughter tinkled like crystal bells. In that moment, amidst the shimmering allure of the underground cave, Diamondheart stood as a figure of mystery and power, a reflection of the enigma that dwelled within his very soul. And as the echoes of the battle faded into the darkness, a new chapter unfolded in the timeless tapestry of their intertwined destinies. In a land where the sun gently caressed the fields and the whispering winds carried tales of heroism and valor, there stood a grand castle atop a hill, its towers reaching for the heavens. This castle belonged to King Diamondheart, a monarch known far and wide for his noble spirit and unwavering courage. One fine morning, as the golden rays danced upon the dew-kissed grass, King Diamondheart stood before his people, his heart brimming with love. By his side stood his beloved Queen Sweetheart, a vision of grace and beauty. The air was filled with the fragrant scent of blooming roses as they exchanged vows of eternal devotion, sealing their union with a kiss that spoke of a love that would endure through the sands of time. But not long after their joyous union, whispers of greed began to spread across the kingdom. Gold miners and diamond miners, lured by the riches that lay beneath the earth, sought to claim the treasures that belonged to the kingdom. The king, his heart heavy with the burden of protecting his people, knew that he must take action. Gathering his most trusted knights and advisors, King Diamondheart embarked on a journey to the heart of the conflict. With his queen by his side, their eyes ablaze with a fierce determination, they led their army into battle against the miners who sought to plunder the land. The clash of swords rang through the air, mingling with the cries of defiance and the thunderous hooves of war horses. Through hardships and triumphs, the king and queen stood united, their love acting as a beacon of hope in the midst of chaos. As the dust of battle settled and peace once again descended upon the land, a new chapter began to unfold. Inspired by the strength of their love and the beauty that lay hidden within the earth, King Diamondheart and Queen Sweetheart founded Heart's Creek Jewelry, a symbol of their enduring bond and the resilience of their kingdom. Each gem carefully crafted by skilled artisans, each piece telling a story of love and valor that echoed through the ages. And so, in the heart of the kingdom, where the rivers sparkled with the light of 1,000 stars, King Diamondheart and Queen Sweetheart reigned, their legacy etched in the stones that adorned the crowns of kings and queens, a testament to the power of love that knew no bounds. In the quaint town of Heart's Creek, nestled amidst rolling hills and whispering trees, there stood a jewelry shop that bore the name of its owner, Earthheart, a place renowned for its exquisite craftsmanship and rare gems. The store was a beacon of elegance and beauty in the otherwise serene landscape. On a fateful day, as the sun cast its golden rays upon the cobblestone streets, a dark cloud loomed over Heart's Creek. Into this idyllic scene strode a figure cloaked in shadows, his eyes ablaze with a fervor that hinted at dark intentions. Diamondheart, a rival jeweler, and his beloved wife, Sweetheart, found themselves confronted by the formidable presence of Earthheart, who bore a countenance as stern as the mountains that overlooked the town. Words were exchanged, sharp as the edge of a diamond, as accusations flew like arrows in a tumultuous battlefield of pride and jealousy. Earthheart, with a voice as cold as ice and as powerful as thunder, declared his verdict upon the hapless couple. A curse fell from his lips, heavy with malice and ancient anger, condemning Diamondheart and Sweetheart to a fate far worse than death itself. As if summoned by an unseen force, the very earth beneath their feet trembled and groaned, as if protesting the injustice inflicted upon its children. A crack, jagged and gaping, split the ground asunder, revealing a yawning abyss that seemed to lead to the very depths of hell itself. With a suddenness that left the onlookers frozen in terror, a colossal hand, gnarled and twisted, emerged from the depths, its grasp reaching out hungrily for the doomed couple. Diamondheart and Sweetheart, their faces contorted with fear and disbelief, were dragged down into the chasm by a force beyond mortal comprehension. The echoes of their cries mingled with the anguished moans of the earth, creating a symphony of sorrow that reverberated through the hearts of all who bore witness to this dreadful spectacle. And so, on that fateful day, the rivalry between Earthheart and Diamondheart was settled, not by the crafting of jewels or the artistry of gold, but by a power far older and darker, residing deep within the bowels of the earth. Heart's Creek, once a haven of beauty and tranquility, bore witness to a tale of envy and retribution that would be talked about for generations to come. A tale of the dangers that lie in the shadows of ambition and pride. Heart's Creek, in the heart of tumultuous oceanic waters, there stood the solitary sentinel of human determination and industry, the oil rig. In the midst of the vast expanse of the undulating waves, it jutted defiantly, a metal behemoth tethered to the seabed, as if daring the elements to challenge its steadfast presence. It was amidst this backdrop of raw power and untamed nature that Earthheart, a figure shrouded in mystery and cloaked in a veil of enigmatic purpose, made his approach. His silhouette, stark against the unrelenting horizon, bespoke of a solitary journey through the realm of shadows and whispers, guided only by the inscrutable call of destiny. Upon the platform of metal and machinery The oil drillers toiled tirelessly, their brow furrowed with the weight of labor and their souls burdened by the ceaseless pursuit of black gold. Little did they know that their tranquil existence was about to be shattered by the arrival of Earthheart, a harbinger of chaos clothed in the garb of martial prowess. With a swift and silent grace, Earthheart descended upon the oil rig, his presence a tempest in human form. The air crackled with an unseen tension, a premonition of the storm that was about to break loose upon those unsuspecting souls who dared to challenge the unknown. In a display of bare-knuckled brutality and unfathomable skill, Earthheart engaged the oil drillers in a dance of violence and retribution. His fists, like thunderbolts, found their mark with unerring precision, delivering knockout blows that seemed to reverberate through the very fabric of reality itself. As the oil drillers fell, their bodies broken and their spirits rent asunder, Earthheart unleashed a torrent of primal energy that shattered the boundaries of the known world. With each head stomp and every devastating kick, he cast their essences adrift into the void, their consciousness wrenched from the confines of flesh and blood. And then, as if summoned from the depths of myth and legend, a host of flying Japanese demons descended upon the oil rig, their wings beating a furious rhythm that spoke of ancient fury and timeless wrath. With talons sharp as razors and eyes ablaze with infernal fire, they swooped down upon the fallen oil workers, their unearthly cries echoing through the raging storm. In a macabre ballet of chaos and despair, the demons seized their quarry, lifting them aloft in a whirlwind of darkness and dread. The oil workers, now little more than puppets, in the hands of malevolent forces beyond their ken, were borne away into the yawning maw of the sky, their screams lost amidst the howling wind and crashing waves. And thus it was, on that fateful day, upon the oil rig, lost amidst the unforgiving ocean, that Earthheart wrought a cataclysm that would echo through the annals of time. In the vast expanse of the ocean, amidst the roiling waves and the salty spray that danced upon the air, stood an oil rig, a towering structure of industry and human endeavor. It was here that our tale unfolds, where the clash of two formidable figures would shake the very foundations of fate itself. On a tempestuous evening, as the fading light of the setting sun painted the sky in hues of crimson and gold, a figure approached the rig with an air of confidence and mischief. Manheart, a man of cunning intellect and sly charm, stepped onto the platform with an air of nonchalance, his eyes gleaming with a spark of mischief that belied his calculated demeanor. Awaiting him was Earthheart, a stalwart guardian of the rig, and a master of strategy both on the chessboard and at the card table. Their meeting was not one of chance, but of design, for Manheart had come seeking a challenge, a test of wits and luck that only his counterpart could provide. With a flick of his wrist, Manheart produced a chessboard and a deck of cards, laying them out with a flourish that bespoke of his confidence. The games began, each move and each card played with a precision that spoke of years of practice and skill. It was a battle of minds and wills, a dance of intellect and cunning that kept them locked in a fierce competition that seemed to transcend mere games. As the hours passed and the games unfolded, it became clear that Manheart was the victor, his strategies and bluffs besting Earthheart at every turn. But it was not just the games that he had come to win, for there was a deeper purpose to his presence on the rig. In a moment of quiet, after the final game had been played, Manheart turned to Earthheart, a glint of mischief in his eyes as he spoke, his voice low and smooth like the whisper of the wind. "I must admit, my dear Earthheart, your skills are truly formidable. But alas, as much as I would relish the chaos of flying Japanese demons unleashed upon this rig, I fear such a spectacle would not bode well for our endeavors here." Earthheart's brow furrowed with concern, for he knew the dangers of such creatures and the havoc they could wreak upon the rig and all who dwelled upon it. And so, with a heavy heart and a sense of duty, he made a decision that would change the course of their fates. "Manheart," he said, his voice firm and unwavering, "I cannot allow such recklessness to endanger the rig and its inhabitants. Therefore, I must banish you from protecting Heart's Creek for the safety of all who dwell within its confines." And with those words, the die was cast, their fates intertwined, yet forever changed by the events that transpired on that fateful evening on the rig, in the vast expanse of the ocean. Under the dusky veil of the evening sky, the rhythmic purr of Manheart's convertible red Mustang carried him swiftly down the winding lanes, his heart aflutter with anticipation. Beside him sat a vision of exotic allure, a Colombian supermodel whose elegant features caught the fleeting glimmers of passing street lamps. Together, they traversed the gentle curves of the road, their laughter mingling with the whisper of the wind. Their destination loomed before them like a mysterious beacon in the night, Heart's Creek Tavern, a quaint establishment nestled amidst the embracing shadows of ancient oak trees. The flickering glow of lanterns cast a luminous spell upon the scene, illuminating the path to a world of enchantment and revelry. As they stepped inside, the melody of clinking glasses and merry chatter enveloped them in a symphony of delight. The Colombian supermodel's eyes sparkled with curiosity as they meandered through the throng of patrons, their laughter adding a melodic touch to the air, thick with a heady anticipation. Next, the allure of Heart's Creek Casino beckoned them with promises of fortune and fate intertwined. The shimmering lights and melodious hum of spinning roulette wheels captivated their senses, drawing them deeper into a realm where luck danced hand in hand with destiny. Their journey then led them to the Heart's Creek cannabis dispensary, where the fragrant aroma of exotic herbs permeated the air, weaving a tapestry of sensory delight. Here, amidst shelves laden with verdant treasures, they found a moment of respite, indulging in the intoxicating embrace of smoke and laughter. Finally, the couple ventured to Heart's Creek Movie Rental, where the shelves groaned under the weight of cinematic treasures waiting to be discovered. Manheart's gaze alighted upon a title that seemed to beckon him, Heart's Creek, a film steeped in mystery and intrigue, starring the enigmatic Rheotaxis. With eager hands, he retrieved the movie, a promise of an evening filled with cinematic enchantment. Back in the warmth of Manheart's abode, the flickering light of the screen cast a mesmerizing glow upon their faces as they nestled upon the soft embrace of the couch. The Colombian supermodel's laughter danced with the shadows, mingling with the fragrant tendrils of smoke that coiled lazily upwards. As the tale of Heart's Creek unfolded before them, their fingers intertwined, drawing them closer in a dance of shared enchantment. And in that moment, as the credits rolled and the echoes of the film lingered in the air like a sweet caress, their lips met in a tender union, a silent promise of nights yet to come. In the hush of the night, amidst the cinematic magic, two souls found solace in the embrace of the other, their hearts entwined like the meandering creeks of fate. Heart's Creek. In the town of Heart's Creek, nestled amidst rolling hills and lush meadows, there stood a peculiar establishment known as Rheotaxis Footwear. It was the brainchild of a man whose very essence seemed intertwined with elegance and exclusivity. Manheart, a man of refined tastes and unparalleled craftsmanship. His shoes, adorned with intricately placed diamonds and gleaming gold accents, were the epitome of luxury, coveted by the elite and revered by all who beheld them. Manheart himself was a figure of mystery and allure, his keen eyes ever watchful, his hands deft and swift as he tended to his creations with a reverence that bordered on the divine. But there was one treasure in his life that outshone even his most prized possessions: Gabriella, a vision of beauty and grace, whose presence in his world illuminated it with a radiance that knew no equal. She, a Colombian supermodel whose very footsteps turned heads, and whose smile could melt the coldest of hearts, was the muse of his existence. Yet fate, that capricious mistress, had other plans in store for this idyllic tale. Upon a fateful evening, as the shadows lengthened and the moon cast a silvery glow over the cobblestone streets, tragedy struck with a vengeance unforeseen. A serial killer, a dark spectre lurking in the shadows, descended upon the unsuspecting Gabriella like a ravenous wolf to its prey. With a malevolent gleam in his eyes and a wicked grin curling his lips, he seized her form and spirited her away into the night, leaving only echoes of her terrified cries to pierce the air. Manheart, his heart a tempest of anguish and fury, beheld this heinous act with a soul-rending despair that shattered the very fabric of his being. In a moment of primal instinct, fueled by a love that knew no bounds, he sprang into action, a whirlwind of determination and valor. With a swift and fluid motion, he launched a flying head kick at the retreating figure of the serial killer. But alas, his blow found only empty air as the villain slipped through his grasp like a phantom. Undeterred, his eyes ablaze with a fierce resolve, Manheart gave chase into the enveloping shadows of the surrounding woods, the verdant canopy above casting a dappled curtain over his frenzied pursuit. His voice, a primal roar of desperation and agony, rent the stillness of the night as he called out Gabriella's name. Each syllable a plea, a prayer, a battle cry against the encroaching darkness that threatened to engulf his world. Thus, in the haunted labyrinth of the forest, where the trees whispered secrets and the leaves rustled with unseen forces, the saga of Manheart and Gabriella unfolded, a tale of love and loss, courage and sacrifice, that would echo through the annals of time, a timeless testament in the heart of the ancient woods, where shadows danced among the towering trees and whispers of the wind echoed through the stillness. There moved a figure, cloaked in mystery and purpose. This figure, known to the world as Manheart, possessed a singular grace and strength that set him apart from the ordinary mortals who wandered through life's twists and turns. Clad in attire befitting his enigmatic persona, Manheart moved with a silent determination, his every step a testament to the power that dwelled within him. His shoes, a marvel to behold, bore the mark of opulence, with diamonds and gold adorning their sleek design, a stark contrast to the rugged wilderness that surrounded him. As he traversed the dense undergrowth, with a fluidity that spoke of long practice and unwavering resolve, a distant sound caught his keen ear, the unmistakable shuffle of malevolent intent, the telltale sign of those who preyed on the innocent and the weak. With a flicker of steely determination in his eyes, Manheart quickened his pace, his luxurious shoes moving in a mesmerizing rhythm as he closed in on his quarry. The serial killers, misguided souls who sought to sow chaos and fear in the hearts of the righteous, found themselves facing a force unlike any they had encountered before. In a whirlwind of motion and grace, Manheart leaped into action, his diamond-studded heels striking with precision and force that left no room for doubt. Each blow landed with the resounding impact, sending the would-be assailants tumbling to the forest floor, their evil intentions shattered by the sheer force of his will. Amidst the chaos and confusion, Manheart stood tall and unwavering, a figure of light in a world darkened by the shadows of malice. His eyes, blazing with a fierce determination and a sense of justice that knew no equal, scanned the clearing before him, ensuring that peace would once again reign in the heart of the woods. And as the last echoes of the encounter faded into the enveloping embrace of the forest, Manheart took a moment to catch his breath, his gaze lingering on the fallen forms of those who had threatened the delicate balance of nature. With a solemn resolve, he gave a silent promise to the trees and the rustling leaves, a vow to protect and defend all that was good and pure in this world, no matter the cost. And in that moment, as the dappled sunlight filtered through the canopy above, casting a gentle glow upon his noble visage, Manheart knew that his journey was far from over, and that the trials and tribulations that lay ahead would test not only his strength, but his very soul. But he faced the challenge with a quiet determination and a steadfast resolve, for he knew that within him dwelled a power beyond reckoning, a power that would guide him through the darkest of nights and the most treacherous of paths. Heart's Creek. In the dimly lit corridors of the asylum, a place wrapped in shadows of long-forgotten horrors, Manheart strode with determination. A solitary figure in the eerie stillness, his keen eyes scanned the desolate passageways, his very presence a beacon of steadfast resolve amidst the chilling echoes of the past. The weight of his mission pressed upon him like a heavy cloak, for within those walls lay the twisted legacy of a serial killer's malevolence. The same malevolent soul that had once terrorized the city now held captive the innocent Gabriella, a girl whose fate hung in the balance between salvation and eternal darkness. As Manheart delved deeper into the bowels of the asylum, the air grew thick with anguish and despair. The restless spirits of the killer's victims stirred in the shadows, their spectral forms clawing at the edges of reality, yearning for release from their torment. Undeterred by the spectral unrest surrounding him, Manheart moved with a grace that belied the gravity of the situation. His strides were swift and purposeful, each step a silent proclamation of his unwavering determination to confront the darkness that lurked within those haunted walls. And then, at last, he found her. Gabriella, pale and trembling, her eyes wide with terror, as the killer's twisted visage leered over her, a cruel smile playing on his lips. Without hesitation, Manheart sprang into action, his hands a blur of motion as he unleashed a barrage of Kenpo Shotokan karate techniques, each strike a testament to his mastery of the martial arts. The room erupted in chaos as Manheart's blows found their mark, the killer's minions falling like dominoes before his relentless onslaught. With a swift kick that sang through the air like a sonnet of justice, he sent the kidnapper reeling, his grip on Gabriella shattered like glass. In that moment of triumph, as the dust of battle settled and the echoes of violence faded into silence. Manheart stood as a silhouette against the dying light, a beacon of hope in a world shrouded in darkness. And as Gabriella's tearful eyes met his own, a silent pact passed between them, a vow to rise above the shadows and embrace the light of a new day. In the town of Heart's Creek, nestled amidst rolling hills and babbling streams, there lived a man named Manheart. With a physique that resembled a Greek statue and pockets brimming with wealth, his presence commanded attention wherever he strode. Yet, despite his formidable exterior, there lingered an emptiness within his heart that neither riches nor muscular prowess could fill. It was on a crisp autumn evening when Gabriella, with her eyes shimmering like sapphires, delivered a blow that shattered the tranquil facade of Manheart's existence. Her words, laced with sorrow and resolve, echoed through the halls of his opulent mansion as she bid him farewell, citing his affluence and imposing physique as barriers that eclipsed their connection. Consumed by a maelstrom of emotions, Manheart sought solace in the kitchen, where he channeled his energies into a humble yet fiery competition, the chili cook-off of Heart's Creek. With a secret recipe passed down through generations, he stirred the bubbling cauldron with an intensity that mirrored the flames of his yearning soul. As the aroma of spices wafted through the air, Manheart emerged victorious. His chili hailed as a symphony of flavors that danced upon the palates of the townsfolk. Inspired by this triumph, he embarked upon a journey hitherto uncharted, founding the Heart's Creek Foundation, a sanctuary for the wandering souls, a beacon of hope in a world marred by indifference. Bearing bowls brimming with his award-winning chili, accompanied by peanut butter and jam sandwiches crafted with care, Manheart traversed the cobbled streets, his benevolence igniting a spark of warmth in the hearts of those he touched. In a gesture that resonated with unprecedented generosity, he erected a community of log cabins along the Serpentine River, offering shelter to the homeless, a refuge from the harsh winds of destitution. Amidst the rustic abodes, laughter and camaraderie blossomed, weaving a tapestry of belonging that transcended the barriers of circumstance. But fate, like a capricious dancer, wove a new thread into the intricate tapestry of Manheart's life. For as the crimson leaves heralded the arrival of winter, a message pierced through the veil of solitude. Gabriella's voice, tinged with a tremor of uncertainty, revealed a truth that set his world ablaze. "Manheart," said Gabriella, her words like delicate petals caressed by a tempest, "I carry within me a gift of life, a bond forged in the crucible of our fleeting union. A child, our child, stirs within my womb, a testament to the love that once bloomed in the garden of our hearts." With a heart that throbbed like the thunderous river coursing through the valley, Manheart stood at the crossroads of destiny, his gaze fixed upon the horizon where shadows intertwined with the fading light. Heart's Creek. In the heart of the untamed wilderness, nestled among the towering pines and babbling brooks of Heart's Creek, a small community thrived. Manheart, with a spirit as resolute as the rugged mountains that overlooked his humble abode, had dedicated his life to sheltering the homeless, crafting log cabins with his own weathered hands, each one a testament to his compassion. Gabriella, a vision of grace and kindness, shared his noble cause, her gentle touch bringing solace to the weary souls who found refuge within the walls of their sanctuary. Together, they tended to the needs of the displaced, offering warmth in a world that often turned a cold shoulder. Yet as envy stirred in the bosom of Mother Nature herself, a tempest brewed in the heavens above. The skies darkened, brooding with a fury long held in check, as if jealous of the benevolence that flowed from the hearts of Manheart and Gabriella. And when the fury could no longer be contained, it unleashed its wrath upon Heart's Creek. A bolt of lightning, sharp as a dagger, forged in the fires of Olympus, struck the tinder-dry forest, igniting a conflagration that danced with malevolent glee. Flames, hungry and voracious, devoured the verdant tapestry of nature with an insatiable hunger, sending plumes of smoke spiraling towards the heavens. The crackling inferno raced across the landscape, a fiery juggernaut, unleashed by the hand of jealousy itself. The log cabins, symbols of hope and respite, stood no chance against the ruthless advance of the wildfires, their walls crumbling like paper before the onslaught of nature's fury. Manheart, his eyes alight with a fierce determination, stood amidst the chaos, a solitary figure in a sea of flames. "We shall rebuild," he vowed, his voice a defiant whisper against the roar of the inferno. "We shall rise from the ashes, stronger and more resolute than before." And as the last embers of the once proud cabins flickered and faded into the night, a new resolve kindled in the hearts of the community. For even in the face of adversity, even in the wake of betrayal, the spirit of kindness and compassion that dwelt within them burned brighter still, a beacon of hope in a world fraught with darkness. In the midst of a roaring inferno, where the flames danced like fiery serpents against the dark canvas of the night, a valiant figure emerged, cloaked in the armor of bravery and determination. This figure was none other than Manheart, a firefighter whose courage blazed brighter than the very flames he battled. As he ascended through the smoky veil, his eyes caught a glimpse of a Siberian supermodel stranded amidst the chaos, her ethereal beauty juxtaposed against the backdrop of destruction. Without a moment's hesitation, Manheart navigated through the treacherous flames, his heart pounding like a war drum in his chest. With swift and practiced hands, he rescued the supermodel from the clutches of the inferno, her gratitude a silent symphony in the face of calamity. But the fiery trial was far from over. Determined to extinguish the wrath that threatened to consume the ancient Siberian forest, Manheart ventured deeper into the heart of the inferno, each step a testament to his unwavering resolve. Yet fate had a cruel twist in store for him, as he found himself ensnared by a deadly ambush of copperheads, their venomous fangs sinking into his flesh like treacherous daggers. Just when all seemed lost, a shadow emerged from the smoldering haze, a figure whose presence exuded an aura of ancient wisdom and strength. It was Bearheart, the revered Indian chief, his weathered face a canvas etched with the tales of 1,000 sunsets. With a voice as deep as the rumbling earth, Bearheart spoke of a betrayal most foul, as Mother Nature herself had turned against her children in a wicked display of wrath. In the swirling chaos of despair, a mystic figure materialized before Manheart, his form cloaked in the enigmatic shadows of the unknown. It was Papa Legba, the keeper of keys and guardian of gates, his eyes gleaming with an otherworldly wisdom. In a voice that echoed like the ancient whispers of the wind, Papa Legba bestowed upon Manheart a gift most peculiar, a golden grill adorned with diamond fangs, a symbol of power and retribution. With a steely glint in his eyes, Manheart understood the gravity of his quest. Gripping the golden grill in his hand, he set forth on a mission to confront Mother Nature herself, to bite her on the neck with the diamond fangs and cast her off the sacred grounds of the earth. A divine mandate echoed in the crackling embers, a battle between man and nature, between courage and chaos, between the flames of destruction and the flickering light of hope. And so, amidst the searing heat and the crackling flames, Manheart embarked on a journey that would define the very fabric of existence, his footsteps echoing through the smoky realm as he prepared to face the ultimate test of his valor and fortitude. The fate of in the twilight hours of a day filled with chaos and unrest, as the flames of the wildfire danced hungrily through the lush forests of Heart's Creek. A lone figure stood amidst the swirling embers. This figure, known to all as Manheart, possessed a spirit as indomitable as the mountains that loomed grandly in the distance. With a determined gleam in his eyes, he raised his hands and focused his energy, summoning a force that seemed to transcend the very fabric of reality itself. In a breathtaking display of prowess and agility, Manheart launched himself into the air, his essence becoming one with the wind that whispered through the scorched branches. The karate head kick that followed was executed with a grace and precision that could only be described as otherworldly. With a resounding impact that reverberated through the clearing, the blow landed true, striking Mother Nature herself and sending her careening off into the vast expanse of the cosmos. As she tumbled uncontrollably into the infinite beyond, the wildfire that had ravaged the land began to sputter and die, its insatiable hunger quenched by the sheer force of Manheart's will. The flames flickered and faded, their crimson tongues licking feebly at the charred remnants of what had once been a thriving oasis of life. With a quiet strength that belied the tumultuous events that had unfolded, Manheart stood once more upon solid ground, a beacon of hope amidst the ruins of devastation. As the cool night air descended upon the clearing, he raised his voice in a haunting melody that seemed to caress the very soul of nature itself. His song echoed through the stillness, weaving a tapestry of sorrow and triumph, of loss and renewal. In the lilting cadence of his voice, there was a promise of brighter tomorrows, of a world reborn from the ashes of its own destruction. And as the last notes faded into the night, a sense of peace settled over Heart's Creek, a peace born of the resilience of one man's heart. Heart's Creek, in the hallowed realm of existence where ethereal powers converge and mortal destinies intertwine, there existed a valiant soul known as Rheotaxis, a man of unfaltering courage and indomitable spirit. He was esteemed as a firefighter of great repute, dedicated to thwarting the encroaching flames that hungered insatiably for destruction. On a serendipitous eve, when the sable tendrils of night caressed the velvet sky and the world lay enshrouded in a blanket of shadow, a clarion call resounded through the ether, beckoning Rheotaxis to a looming conflagration. Within the heart of the inferno, beneath a canopy of swirling smoke and ember, there lay damsels in distress, ensnared by the ravenous tongues of fire. With unwavering resolve and metal akin to tempered steel, Rheotaxis donned his protective armor and embarked upon a mission of salvation. Ascending the stairs of the besieged edifice with stalwart steps that echoed in the silence of imminent peril, he braved the scorching heat and acrid smoke to reach the cusp of danger. "Fear not, fair maidens," he spoke in tones as soothing as a lullaby borne on zephyrs, for I am the harbinger of deliverance, the sentinel of salvation. With sinewy arms that bore the weight of benevolent duty, he cradled the helpless forms of those imperiled women and bore them out of the fiery abyss into the embrace of cooling night. And thus, as the flames receded with a sigh that bespoke defeat, Rheotaxis stood as a beacon of hope amidst the charred remnants of chaos, his silhouette etched against the backdrop of a starlit sky. Yet, destiny held in its capricious grasp a fate far more sinister than the mortal realm could fathom. For lurking in the shadowed alleys of existence, concealed within the murky depths of human hearts, there stirred a malevolence that sought to sow discord and despair. In a symphony of discordant notes and whispers borne on the breath of malice, the demons arose from the abyss, their eyes aflame with a hunger that mirrored the infernos they sought to extinguish. With baleful intent and twisted desires that defied reason, they sought to ensnare the minds of mortals and claim dominion over the realm of the living. But Rheotaxis, in his mantle of valor and righteousness, stood as an unyielding bastion against the encroaching darkness. With a gaze as piercing as the gleam of tempered steel, he faced the demonic horde and issued a challenge that resonated with the echoes of ancient battles and heroic deeds. "Begone, foul fiends!" he thundered, his voice a clarion call that reverberated through the very fabric of creation. "I am the guardian of Heart's Creek." In the heart of Heart's Creek, where the whispered tales of mystical legends danced through the rustling leaves of ancient trees, a remarkable event transpired that would engrave itself into the annals of folklore for all eternity. It was a night like no other, where the celestial stars twinkled above in silent witness to the extraordinary spectacle unfolding below. Rheotaxis, a luminary figure revered by all who dwelt in the lush embrace of the forest, took to the swirling waters of the river on a makeshift stage, the air vibrating with anticipation as Siberian supermodels, with their ethereal beauty and graceful poise, rode jet skis in a mesmerizing display of elegance. The crowd that had gathered, a sea of enraptured faces illuminated by the flickering torchlight, was spellbound by the melodic rhythm that cascaded from Rheotaxis's lips. As his words weaved a tapestry of tales and truths, a sudden cry pierced the night, shattering the tranquil ambience. A woman, caught in the unforgiving embrace of the river's current, flailed helplessly as the icy waters threatened to claim her. With a resolute determination etched upon his features, Rheotaxis leaped into action, his every movement a symphony of fluid grace as he pulled the woman to safety. The crowd erupted in thunderous applause, their fervor a testament to the profound impact that Rheotaxis held in their hearts. In that fleeting moment, as he knelt beside the woman and breathed life back into her lungs with the tender caress of CPR, Rheotaxis became more than just a mere mortal. He became the very embodiment of heroism and compassion. From that day forth, the denizens of Heart's Creek whispered hushed reverence for Rheotaxis, for they knew that he was the guardian of their sanctuary, the beating heart that pulsed with the lifeblood of the earth itself. His legacy transcended mere mortal limitations, weaving a tapestry of tales that spanned the ages, from bare-knuckle boxing knockouts to martial arts tournaments, championships in the brutal arena of Veiled Tudo, where no rules bound his prowess. The world, in all its myriad forms and complexities, paid homage to Rheotaxis, the creator of paradise, the master of the multiverse, the very essence of the forest's soul. Clad in the garb of a samurai ninja avatar, that traversed the boundaries of time and space, he delved into the realms of meditation and astral projection, where his spirit soared with the wild abandon of a free soul. And so, in the tapestry of existence, where the boundaries of reality blurred and melded into a seamless whole, the story went through the leaves in the reverent hush of the wind. For his legacy was not merely a tale, it was a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit, the boundless potential of mankind. Rheotaxis finally obtained the power to harness all of the Heart's Creek heroes. He walks away, rapping a verse that tells the story of Heart's Creek. Heart's Creek. In the heart of the countryside, where the wind danced among the emerald leaves of ancient trees, there resided a man named Rheotaxis. His was a solitude embraced, a communion with nature that spoke to the depths of his soul. From the moment he opened his eyes to the dappled morning light filtering through the canopy above, Rheotaxis felt the pulse of the earth resonate within him, a primal rhythm that stirred his spirit to life. Rheotaxis conquered the demon who attached itself to him by going through trials and tribulations. He baptized himself in a river at a graveyard, and that's when the ability to communicate with the dead emerged. With a step as light as the flight of a passing wren, he wandered the meandering paths that wound through the lush landscape, each footfall a symphony in harmony with the song of the wild. His keen eyes, the hue of deep forest moss, gleamed with a gentle light that mirrored the purity of his heart. In his hands, he cradled the delicate beauty of a fallen leaf, its veins a tapestry of intricate patterns that whispered of the intricate design woven into every living thing. As he walked, the world unfolded before him like a living tapestry, where every plant and creature held a secret, a tale waiting to be told. The rustle of the underbrush, the chirping of crickets, the distant call of a hunting owl, all were music to his ears, a melody that resonated with the quiet symphony of his own heart. But it was not only the symphony of nature that enraptured Rheotaxis, it was the creatures that dwelled within it, the living spirits that shared his world. To him, they were not mere beasts of burden or tools for man's dominion, but companions on the journey through life, each with a story to tell and a lesson to impart. One day, as the sun dipped low on the horizon and cast a golden glow upon the land, Rheotaxis found himself drawn to a secluded glade where a family of deer grazed in peaceful harmony. Their graceful forms moved with a fluidity that spoke of a deeper understanding, a connection to the earth that transcended mere survival. With a soft smile on his lips, Rheotaxis approached them, his heart brimming with an unspoken kinship. "Beautiful creatures of the forest," he murmured, his voice a gentle caress on the evening air. "How I envy your freedom, your unfettered existence in this wild domain. Tell me, what secrets do you guard in your silent eyes? What mysteries do you carry in your graceful dance?" The deer regarded him, with eyes as deep and clear as mountain pools, their regard a silent acknowledgement of his presence. And in that moment, Rheotaxis felt a bond forged between them, a connection that transcended the boundaries of species and spoke to the essence of life itself. "I confess," he whispered, his words a reverent prayer to the fading light, "that in your presence I find solace and a peace that eludes me in the tumult of the world of men." In the sprawling vale, shrouded in the mists of uncertainty, where the echoes of ancient warriors still lingered among the rugged terrain, a spectacle of primal combat unfolded. It was a frenzied gathering of warriors, drawn together by the allure of battle, where the rules faded into oblivion and the only law was that of blood and sweat. This was not merely a contest of physical prowess, it was a test of the very spirit that resided within each participant, a journey to the depths of their innermost selves. Among the combatants stood a figure whose very presence commanded attention. A warrior known as Rheotaxis, a name whispered with both reverence and fear in the underground circuit of no-holds-barred fights. His silhouette, cloaked in shadows, exuded an aura of untamed power, his eyes gleaming with an intensity that spoke volumes of the savagery that lay dormant within. As the primal drums signaled the beginning of the blood match, the combatants surged forward, their movements swift and deadly like a dance of death. The crowd, a sea of faces distorted by the flickering torchlight, roared in delight, their voices merging into a cacophony of primal urges. It was in this chaotic symphony of violence that Rheotaxis found himself, a lone wolf among the pack of hungry predators. The first opponent approached with a swagger that betrayed his overconfidence, a mistake that would soon prove fatal. With a lightning-quick movement, Rheotaxis evaded the clumsy strike, his agility defying the laws of physics. In a blur of motion, he countered with a devastating blow, a precise strike that shattered bone and sent the hapless fighter crashing to the unforgiving ground. The crowd erupted in a thunderous applause, their primal instincts awakened by the sight of blood spilled in the name of glory. But Rheotaxis remained unmoved, his gaze fixed on the next challenger who stepped forward, his eyes burning with a fierce determination. The ensuing battle was a symphony of violence, a brutal ballet of flesh and bone colliding in a primal frenzy. Rheotaxis moved with a grace that belied his savage appearance, each strike calculated to maximize damage and inflict pain. His opponent, a formidable adversary in his own right, fought with a ferocity born of desperation, his movements fueled by the primal urge to survive at any cost. The veiled Tudo trembled with the intensity of the combat, the earth itself seeming to quake in response to the raw power unleashed by the warriors locked in combat. The clash of steel against flesh, the grunts of exertion, and the cries of pain intertwined to form a symphony that spread across the rugged landscape. As the battle reached its climax, Rheotaxis unleashed a devastating combination of strikes that left his opponent reeling, his resolve crumbling in the face of the relentless onslaught. With a final, bone-shattering blow, the warrior known as Rheotaxis emerged. Heart's Creek, starring Rheotaxis, is a mesmerizing cinematic experience that delves deep into the complexities of human relationships and the haunting power of the past. The movie unfolds in a small town where secrets lie buried beneath the surface, waiting to resurface and unravel the lives of its inhabitants. The plot is intricately woven, with multiple layers that keep the audience guessing and emotionally invested from start to finish. Themes of love, loss, redemption, and forgiveness permeate the narrative, creating a rich tapestry of emotions that resonate long after the credits roll. Rheotaxis delivers a standout performance as the enigmatic protagonist, capturing the character's inner turmoil and vulnerability with nuance and depth. The supporting cast also shines, bringing a sense of authenticity and emotional weight to their respective roles. The direction, by the talented filmmaker, is stellar, capturing the small town's atmosphere with a keen eye for detail and mood. The cinematography is breathtaking, capturing the beauty of the landscape and enhancing the emotional beats of the story. The score is haunting and evocative, perfectly complementing the film's darker moments and adding to the overall sense of unease and tension. The production design creates a tangible sense of place, immersing the audience in the world of Heart's Creek. Special effects are used sparingly but effectively, adding a touch of surrealism to certain sequences and enhancing the overall atmosphere of the film. The editing is seamless, maintaining a steady pace that keeps the tension high and the narrative flowing smoothly. Dialogues are poignant and thought-provoking, revealing the characters' inner struggles and desires in a way that feels authentic and relatable. Overall, Heart's Creek is a haunting and emotional journey that will leave viewers captivated and moved by its powerful storytelling and stellar performances. Heart's Creek remains a captivating and emotionally resonant film that is sure to linger in your mind long after the credits roll. Check it out on YouTube. In the serene embrace of Heart's Creek, where crystal waters meandered lazily beneath a sky adorned with wispy clouds of pearl, there existed a hidden haven replete with untold allure. Amidst the rustling leaves of weeping willows and the symphony of chirping crickets, there was a place where time seemed to still, a place known to locals and wanderers alike as a sanctuary for the weary soul. Rheotaxis, a young man of subtle grace and a countenance that bespoke tales untold, wandered the cobbled streets of Heart's Creek on a fateful summer's eve. His strides, unhurried and purposeful, carried him through the quaint thoroughfares lined with Victorian lampposts that cast a warm, flickering glow upon the stucco facades of taverns and saloons. The air carried with it the gentle fragrance of blooming lilacs, mingling with the faint scent of tobacco and whiskey that wafted from the establishments of merriment. As he meandered, Rheotaxis chanced upon a gathering of Siberian supermodels, creatures of ethereal beauty, their gazes as icy and piercing as the northern winds that birthed them. Clad in silken gowns that shimmered in the fading light of day, their laughter tinkled like crystal as they reveled in the revelry that Heart's Creek offered in abundance. In a moment of serendipity, Rheotaxis's gaze met that of the fairest among them, a vision of porcelain skin and ebony locks that cascaded like rivers of night. Her eyes, twin pools of sapphire that held the secrets of the cosmos, beheld him with a curiosity that stirred the depths of his soul. "Good evening, sir," she murmured, her voice a melodic lilt that danced upon the evening breeze. "Are you a wanderer in search of solace amidst the tumult of this world?" Rheotaxis, struck by the melodious timbre of her words, bowed with a grace befitting a courtly gentleman of yore. "Indeed, fair maiden," he replied, his eyes alight with a fire that mirrored the stars above. "I am but a traveler in this realm of dreams, seeking respite from the burdens that weigh upon my weary heart." The Siberian beauty regarded him with an enigmatic smile, her lips the hue of ripest cherries in the dying light of day. "Then you are most welcome in Heart's Creek, where the denizens of the night find refuge in the embrace of the river's whispers and the laughter of kindred spirits. Come, join us in our revelry, and let us weave a tapestry of memories that shall linger in the annals of time." And so Rheotaxis found himself ensnared in the enchanting web woven by the Siberian supermodels. In the heart of the verdant countryside, nestled along the sinuous curves of the river, there lay a place of such ethereal beauty that it seemed touched by the hand of the divine. This place, known as Heart's Creek, was a sanctuary of serenity and tranquility, a secret haven where nature's symphony played out in perfect harmony. At the heart of Heart's Creek resided a man named Rheotaxis, a figure shrouded in mystery and allure, He was a man of sophistication and refinement, his essence exuding an enigmatic charm that captivated all who beheld him. With a gaze as piercing as the river's flow and a voice as smooth as the babbling brook, Rheotaxis commanded attention and respect wherever he went. But what truly set Heart's Creek apart was not just its stunning landscape or the enigmatic presence of Rheotaxis. It was the presence of a group of Siberian supermodels who had sought refuge in this idyllic paradise. These ethereal beings, with their porcelain skin and piercing eyes, moved through the lush greenery like spirits of the forest, their laughter ringing out like the shimmering notes of a hidden stream. One warm summer evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden hue over the landscape, Rheotaxis sat on the veranda of his sprawling estate, overlooking the river as it meandered through the valley. The air was filled with the heady scent of blooming flowers, and the distant sound of chirping crickets added to the symphony of nature that enveloped the estate. As Rheotaxis sat lost in contemplation, a figure approached him, a woman of unearthly beauty, her long hair cascading in waves down her slender back. It was Svetlana, the leader of the Siberian supermodels, her eyes filled with a fierce determination as she spoke. "Rheotaxis," she said, her voice like honeyed silk. "We must talk." Rheotaxis turned to face her, his eyes alight with curiosity. "What troubles you, Svetlana?" Svetlana's gaze softened as she spoke, her words carrying a weight that belied her delicate appearance. "The outside world encroaches upon our paradise, Rheotaxis. We cannot hide here forever." Rheotaxis's brow furrowed in contemplation, his mind working to unravel the complexities of the situation. "What do you suggest, Svetlana? Do you wish to leave Heart's Creek?" Svetlana shook her head, a resolute glint in her eyes. "No, Rheotaxis. We will stay and fight for our sanctuary. But we must be prepared for the challenges that lie ahead." With a nod of understanding, Rheotaxis stood, his tall figure casting a shadow over the veranda. "Then we shall stand together, Svetlana. Heart's Creek will remain our sanctuary. Chapter 2. The Enchantment of Heart's Creek. In the heart of the sprawling valley, ensconced amidst a tapestry of emerald hues and the symphony of birdsong, there lies a place of bewitching allure, Heart's Creek. The water, a crystalline ribbon that wove its way through the land like liquid silver, slithered through the verdant meadows, cutting a path through the wildflowers that danced in the gentle breeze. The murmuring of the creek seemed to whisper of secrets long held. It sung a lullaby to the flora and fauna that thrived in its presence. It was said among the villagers that Heart's Creek was a place touched by magic, that the waters held the power of Rheotaxis, an ancient force that protected the valley from harm. And indeed, those who beheld the creek, with its iridescent sheen and the way the sunlight danced upon its surface, could not deny the palpable sense of tranquility that permeated the air. On a warm summer's day, when the sun hung high in the azure sky and the trees rustled in the gentle wind, a young maiden named Elara made her way to the banks of Heart's Creek. Her golden locks tumbled like liquid sunshine down her back, her eyes the color of the creek itself, filled with the same enigmatic depths. She was drawn to the waters as if by an invisible thread, the pull of Rheotaxis guiding her steps. As Elara approached the creek, she noticed a figure standing at the water's edge, his form silhouetted by the dappled light filtering through the canopy above. It was a man of striking countenance, his features carved by the hands of some divine sculptor, his eyes as deep and unfathomable as the creek itself. He turned to her, a smile playing upon his lips, like a flicker of sunlight upon the water. "Greetings, fair maiden," the man said, his voice a melodic blend of honey and velvet. "I am Galen, guardian of Heart's Creek. What brings you to this sacred place?" Elara felt a shiver of recognition course through her at his words, as if a chord had been struck deep within her soul. "I am Elara," she replied, her voice soft as a sigh. "I felt drawn to the creek, as if it called to me in whispers on the wind." Galen's smile deepened, and he gestured towards the waters that flowed at their feet. "The creek holds a power beyond our understanding, a force that shields this valley from harm. It is known as Rheotaxis, an ancient magic that flows through every drop of water, every blade of grass." Elara's gaze followed his gesture, and she noticed for the first time the way the sunlight danced upon the surface of the creek, forming patterns of shimmering light that seemed to pulse with a life of their own. In the frost-kissed land of Siberia, where the breath of winter danced upon the vast expanse of snow-covered plains like a symphony of frost, there resided a group of ethereal beauties, Siberian supermodels, whose grace and elegance were as renowned as the aurora borealis that painted the sky with hues of emerald and sapphire. Among these exquisite beings was a young woman named Inessa, whose raven locks cascaded like a silken veil down her slender back, and whose eyes gleamed like twin pools of liquid amber. Inessa possessed a spirit as fierce as the Siberian winds, imbued with a quiet strength that belied her delicate appearance. It was on a crisp winter morning, when the sun cast its golden rays upon the snow-clad earth, that Inessa found herself drawn to a quaint dojo nestled amidst the ancient pines. The dojo was a sanctuary of serenity, its wooden walls imbued with the wisdom of centuries past, and the scent of incense lingering in the air like a whispered prayer. Within the dojo, a man of formidable presence stood with a grace that belied his towering frame. Rheotaxis, his name whispered in hushed tones by those who revered him, was a master of the ancient art of Shotokan karate, a discipline as timeless as the mountains that cradled the dojo in their embrace. Rheotaxis, with his piercing gaze and a countenance marked by the wisdom of years, beheld Inessa with a knowing smile, a smile that spoke of recognition, of a shared journey that transcended the boundaries of words. And in that moment, a silent understanding passed between them, binding their fates in a tapestry woven by the hands of destiny. "Inessa," Rheotaxis spoke, his voice a low rumble that resonated in the hallowed space of the dojo. "I have long awaited your arrival. The path that lies before you is fraught with challenges, but I sense within you a spirit that will rise to meet them." Inessa met Rheotaxis's gaze with a mixture of curiosity and reverence, her heart stirred by the weight of his words. She had come to the dojo seeking not just physical training, but a deeper understanding of herself, a journey of self-discovery that beckoned her like a siren's song. And so, under the watchful eye of Rheotaxis, Inessa began her training in the way of Shotokan karate, a path of discipline and honor, of mind and body in harmonious unity. Each movement, each breath, became a dance of grace and power, as Inessa sought to imbibe the wisdom of the ages that lay hidden within the ancient art. Days turned to weeks, and weeks to months, as Inessa honed her skills under Rheotaxis's tutelage. Her body grew strong and supple, her mind sharp and focused. In the quiet town of Heart's Creek, nestled amidst rolling hills and whispering pines, a silent protector, stood vigil against the encroaching darkness. His name was Rheotaxis, a figure shrouded in mystique and myth, rumored to possess otherworldly strength and an unwavering resolve to safeguard the town from all manner of malevolent forces that sought to sow chaos and despair. Rheotaxis, a towering figure with a stoic countenance and eyes that gleamed with a fierce determination, patrolled the quiet streets of Heart's Creek with a sense of duty that transcended mortal understanding. Clad in attire that bore the insignia of a fiery phoenix rising from the ashes, he moved with an almost ethereal grace, his presence commanding respect and admiration from all who beheld him. It was said that Rheotaxis possessed the ability to sense the presence of evil with an uncanny precision, his instincts honed by a lifetime of solitary contemplation and tireless training in the ancient arts of war. And so, when the shadows stirred and whispered of impending doom, it was the silent guardian of Heart's Creek who stood ready to face the encroaching darkness with a courage that knew no bounds. On a moonlit night, when the veil between the worlds grew thin and the howling winds carried echoes of forgotten sorrows, Rheotaxis found himself facing a formidable adversary. A horde of demons, their eyes aglow with malice and their forms twisted and grotesque, descended upon the unsuspecting town with a hunger for souls and a thirst for chaos. With a silent roar that shook the very foundations of the earth, Rheotaxis sprang into action, his movements a blur of steel and sinew as he unleashed a flurry of devastating strikes that sent the demonic horde reeling. Each blow was a testament to his indomitable will and unparalleled skill, his fists like thunderbolts that struck fear into the hearts of his adversaries. As the battlefield erupted into a symphony of chaos and carnage, Rheotaxis stood like a beacon of hope amidst the swirling darkness, his resolve unbroken and his spirit undaunted. With each demon he vanquished, the townspeople whispered tales of his bravery and his selfless dedication to protecting those who could not protect themselves. But Rheotaxis was more than just a warrior of unparalleled prowess. He was also a beacon of light in the darkest of times, a figure who embodied the virtues of courage, honor, and selflessness. And so, when the flames of destruction threatened to consume the town in a raging inferno, it was Rheotaxis who stood ready to face the flames with a courage that defied logic and reason. As a firefighter, Rheotaxis moved with a calm and methodical precision, his actions guided by a sense of duty and a steadfast commitment to preserving life at all costs. With a team of Siberian supermodels martial artists at his side, each kicking teeth out, in the verdant heart of the mystical land of Heart's Creek, where the emerald trees whispered ancient secrets and the crystal-clear waters murmured enchanting melodies, there existed a paradise unlike any other. This ethereal realm was a playground for those who sought adventure and excitement, where the air was imbued with a sense of mystique, and the very earth seemed to pulsate with an unseen energy. Among the denizens of this enchanted land was Rheotaxis, a gallant and intrepid explorer whose name was whispered in hushed reverence by all who knew of his legendary exploits. With eyes as piercing as the morning sun and a heart as fierce as a tempest, he roamed the forests and meadows of Heart's Creek, his footsteps leaving behind a trail of whispered wonder. One fateful day, as the sun dipped below the horizon and cast a golden glow upon the rolling hills, Rheotaxis found himself face to face with a troupe of Siberian supermodels who had journeyed to Heart's Creek in search of adventure. Their beauty was as dazzling as the sun-kissed snow of their homeland, their laughter like the tinkling of silver bells in the wind. "Welcome, fair maidens," Rheotaxis greeted them with a deep bow, his voice rich and resonant. "What brings you to this enchanted realm?" The lead supermodel, a vision of grace and elegance, with ice-blue eyes that shimmered with mischief, stepped forward and regarded him with a knowing smile. "We have heard tales of your daring deeds, Rheotaxis," she said, her voice as melodic as a mountain stream. "We seek a companion on our quest for adventure, and we believe you to be the one we have been searching for." Rheotaxis, his heart stirring with a newfound sense of purpose, gazed into her mesmerizing eyes and felt a spark of recognition ignite within him. "I am honored by your request, fair maiden," he replied, his words imbued with a sincerity that echoed through the forest. "I shall gladly accompany you on your journey, and together we shall weave a tapestry of enchantment and wonder." And so, under the watchful eyes of the ancient trees and the approving whispers of the wind, Rheotaxis joined forces with the Siberian supermodels, embarking on a quest that would lead them deep into the heart of Heart's Creek, where danger and mystery awaited at every turn. As they ventured forth, their laughter and banter filled the air, mingling with the song of the river and the rustle of the leaves. Rheotaxis regaled his newfound companions with tales of his past adventures, each more thrilling and heart-pounding than the last, while the supermodels shared stories of their homeland, of snow-capped mountains and glittering ice palaces. But amidst the camaraderie and merriment, a shadow loomed on the horizon, casting a pall over their joyful journey. In the twilight of a world teetering on the precipice of chaos, there emerged a figure shrouded in mystique, a maestro of words and rhythm known as Rheotaxis. His presence sliced through the cacophony of despair like a blade cutting through silk, his verses a symphony of defiance against the encroaching darkness. It was said that Rheotaxis was born of the whispers of the wind and the secrets of the moon, his origins veiled in the mists of legend. Clad in garments woven from the threads of forgotten dreams, he walked among mortals as a harbinger of hope, his gaze piercing through the veil of illusions that clouded their hearts. As the shadows of malevolence crept ever closer, Rheotaxis took up his mantle as a warrior poet, his words a potent elixir that stirred the souls of the downtrodden and ignited the flames of rebellion in their hearts. With each syllable that cascaded from his lips, he wove a tapestry of defiance that beckoned to those who still dared to dream of a world free from tyranny. One fateful night, as the moon cast its silvery glow upon the world, Rheotaxis stood upon a precipice overlooking a ravaged landscape. The stench of fear and desolation hung heavy in the air, a tangible reminder of the darkness that threatened to consume all in its path. In the distance, a horde of demons swirled like a malevolent tempest, their crimson eyes glinting with malice as they descended upon the trembling earth. With a fierce resolve burning in his eyes, Rheotaxis raised his voice in a defiant crescendo that resonated through the very fabric of reality. "Behold, you fiends of darkness," he declared, his voice like thunder echoing across the desolate plains. "I am Rheotaxis, the keeper of light and the bane of shadows. By the power of words and the strength of will, I shall cast you back into the void from whence you came." The demons recoiled at the sound of his proclamation, their twisted forms writhing in a symphony of agony and rage. But Rheotaxis stood undaunted, his spirit a beacon of unwavering resolve in the face of overwhelming odds. With a gesture of his hand, he summoned forth a torrent of ethereal energy that danced like silver fireflies around him, coalescing into a radiant aura of pure defiance. The air crackled with the intensity of his power, the very ground beneath his feet trembling in awe of his presence. "Come forth, creatures of darkness," Rheotaxis challenged, his voice a clarion call that pierced through the din of chaos. "Face the wrath of a poet scorned, the fury of a world that refuses to bow to your tyranny." And so began a battle that transcended mere mortal comprehension, a clash of will and determination. Rheotaxis says, "I kick pieces of shit off the planet," as the demons go flying into the atmosphere, heavy metal music playing power chords as Rheotaxis walks off in slow motion. The end.